Okay, so now we're ready to assemble everything. The crab mixture has all been shredded, and the green onions have been chopped. The mushrooms are chopped. We have our sour cream, mayonnaise, and tobiko. So we're going to add this all together. Just dump everything in. This is the easy part. And I've tried to make everything as simple as possible. So this is an 8-ounce container, 1 cup of sour cream. Dump out the sour cream. And then using the same container, you're going to take your mayonnaise and fill the container until it's full. Eliminates having to dirty up a measuring cup, since this is automatically one cup container. So this is ready to go. It's your mayonnaise, and everything is already seasoned. The crab mixture has flavoring, and the other ingredient that we're going to add to this, the final ingredient, is called tobiko. Tobiko is a Japanese word for flying fish roe. Ko means child. Tobi means means to fly. So tobiko are the children of the flying fish. So these are the fish roe. Now this is actually an optional item. You do not have to add it if you can't find it or if you're squeamish, but you know, it adds a nice crispy flavor.
Salty, crispy.
And salty, yeah. Some salt to the dish.
Okay, let me
get it. This container is frozen, but or halfway thawed now, but you only need about 2 tablespoons of this mixture. 1, 2. As I said, it's optional. If you do not use tobiko in this mixture, add about half a teaspoon of salt to give you the flavor that the tobiko would normally give you.
This is also a really big package. They do come in smaller ones, right?
Yes. And some of the markets, the Japanese markets, will sell it in smaller containers. There's also another fish roe, which looks like tobiko. They're small, little orangish red eggs, fish eggs. They're smaller and much cheaper. So you can always buy those. I think they're the actually trout eggs. But you can use that as a substitute if you cannot find the tobiko. Or, as I said, you can eliminate it altogether. But I like to add it. It adds a nice little crunch when you are eating the filling. Okay, that's done. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm taking the cooked rice, and I'm just putting it into the container here, trying to even it out, pressing it down a little bit to make the first foundation of our baked sushi. Okay, the next step is to add the rice seasoning. This is a product that you can find in most Asian stores. This particular one I'm using because the one I wanted to use wasn't available. The one I wanted to use is one that has seaweed only, but this one has a combination of seaweed and other dried fish and some other things in it. It really doesn't matter which one you use. It's just a way of seasoning the rice, because the rice itself is very plain. Okay, so we're going to take your container. This is only half full because I used it already, but this container is only half the recipe, so this should be enough. And you want to generously cover your rice. So sprinkle it all over the surface of the rice. And this really is between this and the flavoring in the topping of the crab mixture is all that the seasoning that's in this. That's why we don't use any additional salt or pepper or any other seasoning. Now it's ready to be covered with the rice, with the crab mixture.
Good.
Okay, so the last thing to do is to spread the crab mixture over the layered rice. Be aware that the seasoning that I just sprinkled over the rice furikake, is a flaky topping. So when you apply the crab mixture, understand that where you put it is where it's going to land. You can't distribute it too much because of the layer underneath it. Otherwise it disturbs the whole layering process. I'm only going to use half of the crab mixture, as I said, because this is only half size. But this is certainly enough to cover. And I'm going to try to even it out. And that is your unbaked baked sushi. Okay, now we are ready to bake our baked sushi. Actually, we're not going to be baking it. We're going to be putting it under the broiler long enough to just brown the top surface. It'll take about 5 to 10 minutes. And I'm going to put it time for 1, 2, 3, 4. Start with 5 minutes. Okay, so let's see if our baked sushi is done. Oh yes. Nice and toasty on the top.
Yum.
Yum. But don't eat it right away. It has to cool. I'm not responsible for cut fingers or burnt lips. Okay, the wrapper is seasoned seaweed. This is actually a Korean product. It's Korean seaweed versus Japanese seaweed. Now you may think, well, what's the difference, seaweed? Actually, it's not. The Korean seaweed has flavoring, whereas most Japanese traditional full-size sheet seaweed is plain. The Koreans have a very light sprinkling of salt and sesame oil. So it's a little greasy. But it adds a really nice flavor, and this is the nori, which is Japanese word for seaweed. This is the seaweed that is recommended to be used with the baked sushi. It comes in smaller packages, but the most economical way to buy it is to buy it in these large packs. One large pack has 5 sheets. Like all Asian products, because Asia is so humid, they all have a silica gel pack. This is not to be eaten. This is just included in the dry products to make sure that any humidity is removed. If there's moisture in the bag, these gels, little gel pellets, will absorb it and keep the product nice and dry. Do not eat this. The seaweed has a right side and a wrong side. You may not know, but if you look at it carefully, one side has a sort of a smooth sheen, and the other side has a rough texture. The rough texture is the side that is the wrong side. We're going to put the rice in here and then roll it up. But this seaweed is far too large, so I would recommend that you cut it into quarters. To do this, just use a standard pair of scissors. You could do it one sheet at a time, but that's way too much work. So I grabbed the entire package and cut right through all of it at once. The seaweed is very thin and light and is easy to cut. There, that's 5 sheets cut into quarters. There's 20 pieces of nori ready to be used with the baked sushi. And another way If you don't have scissors, if you're on a picnic and you forgot the scissors or you don't have it pre-cut, just take the sheet of seaweed out of the package and fold it. When it's straight out of the package, it's crispy. And it will break into pieces for you without the use of scissors. It gives a more organic, natural look because you can't tear it in a straight line. But it doesn't matter whether it's cut or torn, it's delicious. Okay, and this is the best part. This is where you actually eat it. The way to do this is in your dish. If you're using the long rectangular dish, then you could divide it into thirds. This being a smaller container, I'm just going to cut it lengthwise in half. This width of the band should be pretty close to the width of your rice, of your seaweed, because this is going to be the wrapper. So just to give you an idea, starting at one end, and this is up to you how large or small you want to make your piece, but it goes into your wrapper, the seaweed with the rough side up, and you roll it up and eat it. Now in French, they say bon appetit. In Japanese, we say itadakimasu, which means thank you for what I'm about to receive. So, itadakimasu. Ooh, it's hot. And it's good. And it's messy. And you do get some oil on your fingers, but you know, I've never had one person ever complain about how messy it was. Enjoy.